On the night of October 1st, 2017, the Route 91 Harvest Festival at the Las Vegas Village was in full swing. The venue featured a large open field where the stage was set up, and concertgoers could gather to enjoy live music. The concert attracted a diverse audience of country music fans, ranging from young adults to families, with attendees typically wearing cowboy hats, boots, and other Western attire, contributing to the festival's country music atmosphere. Jason Aldean was the headlining act, scheduled for the final night of the festival and performing on the main stage. High above the glitz and glamour of the Vegas Strip, Stephen Paddock, a 64-year-old retired accountant, was meticulously plotting an act that would forever change the course of history. To understand the motivations and factors that led Stephen Paddock to commit such a heinous act, we must journey back to Stephen's youth. Stephen Paddock was born on April 9, 1953 in Clinton, Iowa. He grew up in a relatively stable environment, the son of Benjamin Paddock, a bank robber and fugitive who was on the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list during Stephen's early years. This exposure to criminal behavior within his family may have had a lasting impact on Stephen, but it is important to note that the majority of his life showed no signs of violent tendencies. Paddock worked as an accountant and real estate investor and lived a quiet, seemingly unremarkable life. He had no criminal record and was not known to have any significant history of mental illness. He also had no known affiliation with extremist groups. Paddock was known to be a private individual, and his neighbors and acquaintances described him as quiet and unassuming. But beneath the surface, something sinister was brewing. As the years passed, Stephen's fascination with gambling grew, and he became a regular at casinos across the country. The turning point came when Paddock began amassing a significant arsenal of firearms. Over the years, he legally purchased numerous high-powered rifles and thousands of rounds of ammunition, all of which he would later use in the shooting. A week before the shooting, on September 25th, Stephen Paddock checked into room 135 on the 32nd floor at the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino. He selected this room because of its elevated view of the Las Vegas Village Festival grounds. Paddock transported his weapons and ammunition in suitcases and luggage carts to avoid drawing attention. Hotel security footage captures him conversing with the unassuming hotel staff and security personnel. Paddock meticulously prepared his hotel room, transforming it into a sinister hideout. He set up surveillance cameras both inside and outside his room to monitor the approach of law enforcement and security personnel, giving him advance warning of their response. The day began like any other for Stephen. He woke up early, went about his routine, blending in seamlessly with the world around him. As the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival began the evening of October 1st, thousands of people gathered across the road to enjoy the performances of their favorite country music artists. Little did they know that a tragedy of unprecedented magnitude was about to unfold. Popular country artist Jason Aldean took the stage at 9:40 p.m. During the performance, at 10:06 p.m., the first shots rang out. Initially, many in the crowd thought the sounds were fireworks or part of the show. However, it quickly became evident that they were actually gunshots. Panic erupted as the shooting continued. People in the crowd began to flee, taking cover behind anything they could find as the rapid gunfire continued. At 10:08 p.m., the first 911 calls were made to report the ongoing attack, with people desperately seeking help and providing information about the location and direction of the gunfire. At 10:12 p.m., the first officers from the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, LVMPD, arrived on the scene. They faced a chaotic and confusing situation, with concertgoers running in all directions and the source of the gunfire unclear. Officers inside the festival grounds continued to provide assistance to the injured, despite the danger of continuous gunfire overhead. They quickly realized that the shooter was positioned high above them, and their priority was to protect the concertgoers and themselves. The LVMPD requested assistance from nearby agencies, leading to a massive response from local, state, and federal law enforcement, including SWAT teams and crisis negotiators. Officers likely located the shooter's room on the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Resort, using information from 911 calls, eyewitness accounts, and hotel security personnel. Although initially holding off from breaching the room due to concerns about the shooter's potential explosives, at approximately 10:55 p.m., the SWAT team initiated the breach operation. They used explosives to blow open the door of Paddock's hotel room. This explosive entry was swift and intended to catch Paddock off guard. They found Stephen Paddock dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. After securing the hotel room and confirming that Paddock was no longer a threat, officers ensured the safety of the immediate area and searched for any additional threats, such as explosives or accomplices. The scene was carefully preserved for forensic examination as part of the ongoing investigation. This involved documenting the contents of the room and collecting evidence. Paddock appeared to have considered an escape plan. He had prepared a getaway by renting a room at another hotel during the same time frame, suggesting that he might have intended to flee after carrying out the attack. The shooting resulted in 58 people losing their lives, and hundreds more were injured. Emergency medical teams worked tirelessly to treat and transport the wounded to local hospitals. Many victims faced life-altering injuries, and the medical response continued for weeks, as survivors required ongoing care and rehabilitation. The investigation into the shooting began immediately. Law enforcement agencies at the local, state, and federal levels collaborated to gather evidence, interview witnesses, and reconstruct the events leading up to and during the attack. Survivors and witnesses of the shooting experienced significant psychological trauma. Many developed post-traumatic stress disorder and struggled with anxiety, depression, and survivor's guilt. The Las Vegas shooting reignited the national debate on gun control and firearm regulations. Advocates for stricter gun control measures called for changes to prevent similar tragedies in the future, while opponents argued for the protection of Second Amendment rights. The event prompted a reassessment of security measures at large gatherings, especially outdoor events and concerts. Organizers, venues, and law enforcement agencies reviewed and enhanced security protocols to better prepare for potential threats. Lawsuits were filed against the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino, the manufacturer of the bump stocks used by the shooter, and other entities. These legal actions sought compensation for victims and accountability for those believed to be responsible. Las Vegas established several memorials and remembrance events to honor the victims and survivors. The 58 white crosses, each bearing a victim's name, became a prominent symbol of remembrance in the city.
I'll go through the, now it's, last time I talked to him was he texted me to ask how my mom was after we didn't have power for 5 days in the neighborhood. He talked to her on the phone a week or two ago and then sent her a walker because she's having trouble walking. I mean,
doesn't sound like a guy who would do that.
You think? I mean, I thought I was trying to convey that a little bit. Well, that's why, like I said, this is like an...
Despite extensive efforts, investigators were unable to definitively determine Stephen Paddock's motive for the attack. The lack of a clear motive remains a haunting question for many. Despite knowing that Paddock planned the attack over an extended period, the exact timeline of his planning, acquisition of firearms, and preparations remains incomplete. Extensive efforts were used to analyze Paddock's electronic devices and digital communications, but investigators were unable to uncover a manifesto, clear declaration of intent, or any digital trail that would provide insight into his motive or planning. One of the prominent theories surrounding Paddock's motivations is his reported gambling addiction. Paddock was known to frequent casinos and had amassed a significant fortune through gambling. Some believe that financial losses and mounting debts may have contributed to his mental state and ultimately triggered the shooting. The 2017 Las Vegas mass shooting remains a painful and haunting chapter in American history. The actions of Stephen Paddock, a man whose motivations continue to puzzle investigators, left 58 innocent people dead and hundreds more injured. The unresolved questions surrounding the event continue to trouble investigators, survivors, and the public. It serves as a dark reminder of the challenges in understanding and preventing such acts of violence.